Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on Light at the End of the Lead Tunnel. I am Ayushi, Vision of Denave. Allow me to introduce you to our in-house industry veterans who will be our presenter for today. We have M P Narayanachar, Vice President Business Development at Denave. He has been heading Denave Singapore office since 2011 and is responsible for the growth of that region. Hi MPN, would request you to say a quick hi to our audience. MPN, you are on mute. You can unmute yourself.
Hello everyone, nice to meet you all virtually over here. Look forward to the discussion.
Thank you. Alongside him, we also have Boba Sharma as our co-presenter. He is Senior Vice President, Sales and Strategy at Denave and focuses upon driving remote sales business across multiple geos and clients. He is popularly known as Bobby at work, so you will hear him being addressed in that manner. So, hi Bobby, now your turn to switch on your camera and say a quick hi to our audience.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Nice to be here and looking forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. Now, before we begin, let me give you a brief introduction about Denave, a wonderful company we all represent. So, we are a 21-year-old Indian-born sales tech MNC, which provides end-to-end sales enablement. Keeping our core focus intact, that is empowering sellers' journey, Denave has remodeled its strategies in line with the new normal, helping businesses to get back on track after a pandemic led downtime by leveraging its tech enabled services is on priority. With the changed market dynamics, Denave has focusing upon the opportunities which have emerged amidst the pandemic, such as remote and virtual selling becoming the new normal, digital stepping in place of traditional transitions, then cloud transition becoming the new necessity, and many more. Deneve is not just about helping its customers to survive through the downtime, but also make sure that they thrive in the new market conditions. Now, that was about Deneve. For the benefit of our audience, this is the second webinar in line with the ongoing series of webinar on inside sales and partner management. In our previous webinar, Bobby, along with Faizu Rahman, DGM, Sales and Strategy at Denave, gave us a holistic view on the inside sales journey. In today's webinar, we'll be focusing upon sealing the gaps in the journey from MQL to SQL with the help of technology. Now, moving on, let me give you a brief introduction about the tool so that you get the best experience during the session. So in case you have any question or want to say anything to any of our presenters, you can click on the hand raise button and we'll attend to you. You can also type down your questions in the chat and Q&A section, and it will be taken up in the allotted Q&A pit stops. The entire webinar is being live streamed on our Facebook page, and the recording will shortly be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So in case you are facing any technical glitches, you need not worry. It has already been taken care of. So now, without any further ado, I think we are ready to begin. So over to you, MPN.
Thank you so much, Ayushi. Uh, Good morning to everyone joining in from India, and good afternoon to all my ASEAN counterparts who would have joined from ASEAN region as well. It's an exciting time to connect and talk to all of you guys, and share some of the experiences that we have in this industry for the last 21 years. Driving sales enablement services for our customers across the APAC region, and also get to hear from you. Get your thoughts, exchange ideas, and continue this engagement on an ongoing basis. Uh, so the topic that we are talking about today is light at the end of the lead tunnel. I am not sure how many of you would have heard about this term, or is this a completely new term? But that's what we'll try to declutter and give you some insights about. What we look at is what does it mean? What does this light at the end of the lead tunnel mean? Why is it important? and how can this be managed? So these are some of the things that we would be covering in our today's discussion. And I'll please feel free to share your questions and any clarifications you would want as we progress, and we'll answer them as we progress during the session. So moving on, uh, typically marketing teams invest a lot of their time and effort and also dollars in increasing awareness to help the sales teams with leads. Now these leads are what the sales teams can now actually follow through and drive to closure. And the marketing teams use a lot of tactics. It could be digital marketing tactics, or it could also be telemarketing tactics. And it could be top of the funnel kind of a thing, where it is purely SEO, Google Ads kind of programs. It could also be social media marketing programs, email marketing programs, telemarketing programs, or anything. Ultimately, the whole objective here is to identify propensity of customers within a certain universe, find customers who are interested in your product or solution, and then capture their intent and interest, qualify it to a certain level, and then hand it over back to the sales teams, right? And what happens in this one is basically the marketing team is able to actually identify these opportunities, qualify them under a band criteria, which is basically budget, authority, need, and timelines. So whether the customer has a certain budget, whether the person who is interacting with you is the decision maker, is there a specific need because of which they feel that your product is important for them, and also are they willing to buy this within a certain duration of time. These are some of the critical aspects that even the sales teams would look at when they want to start pursuing a specific customer, to be able to pitch the value proposition that they may want to pitch, and then see if they can convert that into a sale. And this is what most of the time we do at Denave for our clients. We run end-to-end demand generation programs where we are able to identify a certain audience, nurture that particular audience, capture their intent, qualify that particular intent in a band qualified metric, and then hand over these band qualified leads to the customers. This is what typically we do day in and day out. And this is what most of you, if you are marketeers over here, you would also be doing the same thing. And if you are a sales team, you would also be probably getting those leads from your marketing teams on an ongoing basis. This is a pretty simple, straightforward thing. There's nothing here in this one which is rocket science, but yes, sometimes it can be complicated as well. But most of the times it's a straight demand generation program that is executed by the marketing teams. But what happens after the lead is generated? This is the most important thing, right? Because it's a band qualified lead, and it's naturally handed over to either the channel sales teams, if your organization or if the client is selling through a network of channel partners, it is handed over to a channel partner team. If the organization has an inside sales team, then these leads are passed on to the inside sales team within the organization. And the way this is handed over can also depend on what tools and tactics the organization is using. It could be a simple Excel based sharing. It could be passed through a CRM, which is capturing a lot of information and being able to generate intelligence from the data that is coming back. It could be as simple as even a WhatsApp message, right? Sending the WhatsApp message to the sales people down the line that, hey, so and so customer is interested, please get in touch with them and talk to them about this particular opportunity. Or it could also be pick up the phone and talk to the salespeople and tell them that, hey, this is the lead that we have found today because of our so and so marketing activity that we have done. So please pursue this one and see if you're able to close a deal. All said and done, that is what is the band qualified lead, which is handed over. And most marketing teams, this is what they work for, right? They work towards identifying an opportunity which can be handed over to the sales teams, and the sales teams can benefit from this one. And hence, in more or less a campaign perspective, the role of marketing team is more or less done when the baton is handed over to the sales teams, which is basically the band qualified leads. Again, all this looks pretty simple and straightforward. Most marketing teams and sales teams do this on a day in and day out basis. And the process can be simple or complex based on the kind of tools that you're using. A telephone call can be a very simple thing to do. A WhatsApp message can be a little bit more simpler. And but sharing this information through a CRM could be a little bit more daunting in terms of data points and access to the CRM, a lot of that stuff. And Excel file could be all the more confusing if you have multiple partners, multiple salespeople spread at various locations and all those things. But having said that, ultimately the band qualified lead is what is generated by the marketing team, and that is handed over well to the sales teams. So this is all straightforward, looks good till now, right? And what is important now going forward from here is this is where things get a little bit more complex, right? It becomes complex because there is a lot of time, effort, and money that has got invested from the marketing teams in terms of being able to nurture a certain universe, identify a propensable customer, and generate a qualified lead, and hand over that qualified lead to the sales team. And the sales team then takes over, and they are able to pursue this particular deal and then probably even close the deal. But invariably, what happens is most of the time, this is what we have been experiencing as an agency who runs multiple campaigns like this for a host of our clients, is that sales teams are really busy trying to close those deals. They want to focus on getting the best out of that particular deal, and they want to make sure that they are able to uh, put the right value proposition to the customer and win that particular deal. So that becomes the highest priority for them. While focusing on that priority, they may take the feedback of this lead back into a second priority kind of a thing, or probably in most cases, probably even the last priority, because for them to winning the deal is important. And they may think that, okay, let's give the feedback once the deal is won or lost. But in the meanwhile, there's no feedback going back to the marketing team. What marketing team or the management stakeholders within the organization who have approved the investments would be looking at is, hey, this money has got invested. What is the kind of returns that we are getting, either in terms of a pipeline, or can we see an expected closure? What kind of sales values are we looking at? This particular marketing activity that has been done, how is it impacting our forecast for next couple of quarters down the line? Are we able to see a good, healthy pipeline funnel so that we know what kind of sales we would be expecting in next couple of quarters? This is what is the information that marketing team and the management team is looking forward to. But in the absence of this feedback coming back from the sales teams, that is where there is no feedback. Then that is there is darkness and confusion, and that is where there is no light at the end of the tunnel. There is darkness, and when there is darkness, there's a lot of confusion. People would be interested to know, hey, this investment has already gone into the particular program. What returns are we getting from this particular program, right? And this becomes all the more complicated when you have multiple sales teams who are spread at multiple locations, multiple layers of sales teams, whether it is inside your organization or outside your organization through a channel partner ecosystem. And it really becomes daunting task to collect this feedback. Yes, there are solutions to this. There are CRMs where you can actually given CRM access to your sales teams, and they are able to fill in the required data over there and give the feedback in an ongoing basis. Or it can even be simpler terms like using a telephone call, WhatsApp, or Excel file. But the important thing here is, uh, except for even in large organizations, CRM is restricted to the inside sales teams or within the organization. The CRM is not accessible to the channel sales teams. So the channel partners still depend on responding back in Excel files or maybe the traditional methods. Because of this, there are delays, and these delays would actually increase the delay in terms of getting the feedback on the outcome. Finally, what happens is, in most cases, the investment on the marketing campaign is done today, but at least for a quarter or even maybe 2 quarters down the line, there is no absolute clarity in terms of what kind of returns this investment is giving back, whether this is working out well or no. And from a marketing team point of view, they are more concerned about knowing whether what they have done is right or no, whether what they have done is in line with the market requirements, or whether it is in line with your sales team's needs, and have they done it in the right way or no. This is where this is very important, that there is light coming back at the end of the tunnel. That is why it is important to get information about a lead that has been handed over to the sales team, which is basically what we call as, having that light at the end of the lead tunnel, where the sales teams are able to actually come back and say that, hey, this particular campaign that you have run, I've been able to capture these many opportunities, and within next 1 month or one quarter, this is the kind of a pipeline that I have, and I should be able to close so much deals. And hence it helps the marketing teams to decide how they can further improve on this one, or help the sales teams get more pipeline. So it's purely the visibility on what is happening to the lead after it is handed over to the sales teams. If there is no visibility, that is where there is a lot of darkness and confusion. And if there is visibility, that is what is the light at the end of the lead tunnel. So I think I've set the context over here in terms of trying to explain what we mean by calling it as light at the end of the lead tunnel, because we feel that this is one of the very important and critical aspects of making a demand generation campaign extremely impactful and successful, not only from getting the required ROI, but also in terms of positioning the brand and the customer's value proposition in the right way. Now, going forward to the next point in terms of why is it so important, let us look at what are the things that makes this important. And there could be many reasons, but I think what I'll do is I'll just talk upon a very simple straightforward process where that could give you an understanding as to why this is important. If you look at the kind of effort that goes in for one single sales deal that is closed, right? Say for example, the salesperson has closed one deal today, right? And to be able to close that one deal, the salesperson would have pitched for two customers or two deals probably. And to be able to get to those two deals, the salesperson would have actually prospected or maybe spoken to about 4 qualified, sales qualified opportunities, which means that he has spoken to about 4 customers, and all the 4 customers have a budget, authority, need, timelines, all done. But is the deal closing in today, or is the deal closing in this month or in this quarter? Probably not all the 4 deals would close immediately. Possibility that only one deal is closing in immediately, right? So from 4 SQLs, he has put an opportunity to 2, and from 2 he has closed 1. But to be able to generate those 4 SQLs, which is sales qualified lead, the marketing teams would have actually identified 8 marketing qualified leads. Again, these 8 marketing qualified leads would be BANT qualified, which means the marketing team has qualified them on the budget, authority, need, timelines, and only then handed it over to the sales teams, so that the sales teams can further pursue this and be able to drive those to the closure. And to be able to generate this 8 marketing qualified leads, there is a possibility that the marketing team has gone through a propensity model for about 16 deals or 16 accounts or 16 customers, right? And this they would have again done through a mix of their marketing campaigns. It could be digital marketing, it could be email marketing, it could be hosting a webinar, it could also be doing telemarketing. All said and done, they would have captured this 16 intent propensity, and that from 16 they would have qualified about 50% of it got qualified into marketing qualified leads, and that is what they've passed on to the sales teams. Now, to be able to get to this 16, there is a very high possibility that they would have started with about 1600 accounts, or in some cases where the market situation or the product value proposition or the market universe is large, there is a possibility that they would have even started at 16,000. Now, this is the amount of time, effort, thought process, and dollars that going into planning, creating, and executing a demand generation campaign. And when this kind of a demand generation campaign is executed on an ongoing basis, it's not going to be a simple investment. It is an ongoing, well thought out investment from the organization perspective, and hence everyone in the organization would be looking at, hey, how's this program going on? What kind of leads are we giving? Are these leads converting into sales? That information needs to go back. That's the reason this is very important, that the information from the lead that is handed over to the sales team needs to go back to the marketing team, so that the marketing teams can really look at the light at the end of the lead tunnel and be able to get themselves acquainted with what kind of information is coming back and how can they plan their future campaigns. Now, the point to note over here is marketing teams are always not working for immediate needs. They are also looking at working on campaigns that are focused for next couple of quarters, so that they're able to help the sales teams to build their pipeline. Hence, if they are getting the feedback in real time, getting the information about what is happening to the leads on a real time basis, then possibly they are able to adapt to the situation, adapt to the market conditions in the right way, and then be able to actually adjust their campaigns and execute it as per what is required from the ground perspective. So that's the important point in terms of understanding why is it important that light at the end of the lead tunnel is important, right? Hence, if you look at the kind of efforts that the marketing teams go through, they go through the various kinds of campaigns, right? They do awareness. If you look at understand a typical ACPP cycle as well, right? Awareness, consideration, preference, purchase. It starts from the top of the funnel. There's a lot of time that goes in identifying the top of the funnel, awareness, nurture programs that happen, and from there, then middle of the funnel is where the demand generation is happening, and from there it is the lead is generated and handed over back to the sales team so that they are able to really pursue on these opportunities and close those particular deals. And this process becomes simple if your sales teams are small and they are all at one single place, and it becomes all the more difficult if your sales teams are spread in multiple locations and there are multiple layers of sales teams within the organization, within the channel ecosystem, and possibly even within the extended sales teams that you may be having. Hence, for us, what we thought is, with our based on our experience and running these multiple campaigns that we are, running for, so much time, we thought we should be able to come and share with you the importance of light at the end of the lead tunnel, and what is it and why is it important, and how do we take it forward from here. So that was broadly what I wanted to share with, and I suppose there are some questions that has come in. Okay, what we can do is, we are anyway heading to the right point where we can actually pause and take a we can pause and take a quick poll. Ayushi, would we want to kickstart the poll?
Yeah, thank you, MPN. So now we'll be stopping for a quick poll break, and post the poll, we'll be taking up a few questions. So anyone want to ask any question, you can click on the hand raise button or type down your question in the chat and Q&A section below. So now I'll be launching the poll. It is launched and it should be visible on everyone's screen. So the question here is, in the light of the new normal, what percentage of your leads do you see falling through the crack? A, less than 10%, B, 20 to 30%, C, 50%, or D, greater than 50%. So would request the audience to cast your vote. We already have 45% of the audience have casted the vote. Would request the remaining to please cast your votes. So the poll will be open for 10 more seconds. So would request the audience to please go ahead and cast your votes. So I'm ending the poll now, and the results should be visible on your screens. So the results are interesting, isn't it, MPN?
Yeah, in fact, about 47% of them feel that about 20 to 30% of their leads are falling through the cracks. This is quite quite an interesting feedback, and of course this is what we experience on a ongoing basis, day in and day out as well. And related to this, there is a question as well. Harsh Badani asking, why can't we use existing CRM to get feedback on leads? Yes, as I mentioned, you can use your existing CRM, no problem on that one. But what we have experienced is, as your sales teams go multi-layer, or you're working through your channel ecosystem and channel network, you will need to give the CRM license to your channel sales teams as well. And with organizations who has large channel networks and large sales teams, it becomes really a high cost initiative for them to be able to give the CRM access to all of the sales teams across across the network. So that becomes really difficult and expensive. And having done that, what we have experienced is, as mentioned earlier as well, sales teams are on the field and they are focused on closing the deal, and they may want to go back and give the feedback on the deal after the deal is closed, or the access to the CRM is secure because of the GDPR data compliance or personal identity information in data points, which the sales teams may not be able to access from outside the organization or through a secure network. So it becomes difficult for them to give the feedback. And most of the times, again, the CRMs, which are focused on capturing a lot of marketing information for the organization, has a lot of information and a lot of data points to be filled. And that actually becomes a daunting task for the sales teams. And they would prefer to, keep it simple and then execute their, focus and, try to drive the, deals over there. And having said that, the other challenge is also about, not being able to get the access, for the CRM. That's the important thing. Yeah. Any other questions coming in?
So we don't have any other questions, so I guess we can continue with the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Ayushi. So having covered the point about what is light at the end of the lead tunnel, and why is it important to be tackled. Now the next important point to be looked at is how can it be managed? What are the ways and means that we can use to actually manage this? And this is where I'll invite my colleague Bobby to take over and then share some of the best best practices and case studies or examples that we are currently executing in Denave. Bobby, on to you.
Thank you, MPN, and good morning, everyone, again, to our to people who have joined from India, and good afternoon to our friends from ASEAN countries. Thanks, MPN. Very interesting, and I'm just looking at a couple of questions that came up into the chat window as well. And just for everybody's benefit and information, MPN and I go a long way back. Close to about 8 years in terms of MPN doing the business delivery. The business development, and I doing the business delivery. So operations and business development going hand to hand, and we have worked on more than hundreds of campaigns together, collaboration. So happy to share some of our thoughts around this. Just about 3 weeks back, there was a webinar that we had done on inside sales and remote partner management as well. You'll be able to find that from our Denave LinkedIn website, where we talk something very, very interesting about the benefits of moving into inside sales and remote partner management, how effectively you can do it. The remote partner management is somewhat related to what we are talking about, and I would like to sketch the points together of what MPN was trying to explain on, and how we can eventually land the context of seeing that light at the end of the lead tunnel. All those clutter, all those darkness about not very sure about where my leads are heading or where my opportunities are heading out. How do you close it? How do you ensure that you're able to see that light is what I want to spend some time, probably the next 15-20 minutes, and explain how effectively it can be done. What we also need to understand is that as a marketer, you spend a lot of money in ensuring that there is a demand generation engine, or there is a digital marketing engine that you set up, so that you're able to get some prospects out of the campaign that you are driving. Now, if these prospects that you are getting out of a campaign or a program or execution that you are doing, but there are no proper follow-up done on the sales qualified leads or the tele-qualified leads, then every dollar that you have spent is going to go down the drain. There's not going to be any positive ROI that you are going to be getting. Gone are those days where a marketer would say that my role was just to ensure that I have to generate some leads, and it is up to the sales team who have to eventually look at the closure. It's more of a cohesive unit that we need to work together in today's world if you need to be successful. We see more integration between the marketing and the sales team from a sales strategy perspective, and that's what we do even here in Denave. So going back to the point that how can we manage it? How do we ensure that the leads don't fall into the crack? And I saw that a couple of people who have claimed in the poll that we just had about 5 minutes back that more than 50% of the leads that your team is generating are falling through the cracks. That's an extremely worrying sign if more than 50% of those leads are falling through the cracks, and hopefully we should be able to address that in how effectively it can be done. Just in case, for everyone, in the interest of time, if we are not able to answer your question, or if you have a question, larger question that you would like to discuss either with MP Narayanachar or with me, please reach out to the panelist team, and we will be happy to set up a different session, probably a one-on-one, where we can probably do a thread bearing of what your issues are and try to give you a solution based on the experience that we have had in running this company for the last 21 years. So effective lead handoff, some of the important elements here we want to look at is the 4 pillars in terms of lead maturity, collaboration, which is end-to-end, how the informations are being transferred. When you say information is being transferred, after an opportunity or a lead has been identified, there needs to be a good handshake, in terms of these opportunities going to the partner or to the sales team. So that information transfer is very, very important. And of course, the last one, which is the handoff process, how seamlessly you can hand off these opportunities or leads to ensure that there is no breakage. See, there is bound to be some breakage, but the idea here is to minimize it or mitigate the risk of losing more leads which are falling through the cracks. Just to cite an example, all those 2 people who have said that more than 50% of your leads are falling through the cracks, if you're able to bring it down to about 20%, I think we have provided a solution, and it is going through the right process. It cannot be 100%, which we all agree, but the idea is to bring it down. So from a lead maturity standpoint, what we're looking at is, we talk a lot about BANT in the marketing initiative, in a demand generation engine. MP also spoke briefly about BANT. I think now the time has come in terms of how do you evolve yourself, at least in the BANT qualification matrix. Interestingly, today morning we were having a pitch discussion. MPN was there, I was there with a prospective partner that we're going to sign up very soon. It went very well. And they were also asking about, what according to you is a BANT definition. Everybody has a BANT definition. Don't get me wrong. Every marketer would have a BANT definition. We want to probably go a little ahead in terms of how do you define the BANT? And classic example that I gave in that conversation is as well, in terms of the budget. Now, when you say budget, a lot of marketers will agree that, okay, I have got this customer, I have spoken to this customer, they have got a pre-approved budget, I will consider as a budget tick mark. I think we need to, probably evaluate in terms of saying that, or some of the customer says that, I'll get the budget approved, don't worry. Or what is the cost of the solution that you're going to provide? Let's say if it is like $10,000, I'll speak to my manager and it should be done. It cannot be a budget approved based on, somebody saying that I will get it approved, or, I will put it in front of my manager. It has to be pre-approved. It has to be available. It has to be part of a planning that an organization has done at the beginning of the year. Because if you're looking for a growth, if you're looking for expansion, if you're looking for a solution that will increase productivity, optimize cost, what is important for us to establish is that whether they have a pre-approved budget, which is aligned to the plans that they have. So that's the example that I want to give here in terms of going probably a 2-step ahead of the traditional way of qualifying a bank to the next new age way of qualifying a bank. Now in need, a lot of people talk about that, oh, my RPC or the right party contact has already confirmed that they have a requirement. That is why I am going to do a tick mark on the need. No. The need can be also from the perspective that if the customer is willing to go for a proof of concept, okay, or if the customer is willing for a demo, that's where the addition of need needs to come in. Not just by somebody saying over the phone or filling up a form on EDM saying that, hey, I might have a requirement or I have a requirement. A requirement can only be justified only when the customer goes to the extent of agreeing for a proof of concept or for an assessment or for a demo. So that's the extent of need qualification we are talking about here. Timeline cannot be vague anymore saying that, hey, it's going to be 3 to 6 months or it's going to be 0 to 3 months. It needs to be as accurate as possible. So we are looking at the next level of band. Now you have those clarity in the form of a lead form. Your chances of getting this falling through the cracks is going to be very, very minimal. And that is what we want to emphasize on. End-to-end collaboration, moving to the next block in terms of what attributes you're going to contain in your lead form or your opportunity form. In terms of, can we start assisting the customer right from the beginning to the level that when a particular lead form is being shared, and I'm going to collaborate this with the next information, which is the information transfer. are those very well articulated in a sense that anybody who's picking up the form is able to establish that whether this is a good lead or a bad lead. Now, of course, in an engine that you're driving, you're going to have a good lead, you're going to have bad lead. So the marketers would like to use the word, hot, cold, and warm. There's no room or space for cold and warm leads anymore, I feel, in today's race. It has to be on the hot leads. The handoff process, where we are talking about, a joint introduction. And I think this is very, very important. No more flying of Excel sheets around, no more flying of, documents around or emails in terms of, I've got an opportunity, I've got a lead, I want to assign it to X partner or X salespeople. I think the time has come, and this is what we have been doing for the last 3 or 4 years in terms of having a joint handoff, a triangulation communication, where I, as a seller, have identified an opportunity. And when I feel that this is a band qualified lead, what I will do is I will ensure that I have the partner, I have the sales team, and I have the customer and myself on the call explaining that why I felt that this particular opportunity needs to move to the next level. What more clarity will we need on that? Do we feel that if you work with such a robust and a seamless process where everything is transparent, everything is given into a black and white document, will anybody feel a fear of dropping these leads through the crack? Or would you still say that there is darkness at the end of the lead tunnel? I don't think so. So those are some of the elements that we would like to bring up here. MP, if you can go to the next slide, please. Adding to this, there has been a lot of questions on, and we had a question in between the webinar as well, where somebody, I forgot the name of the gentleman, he was asking a question to my colleague MPN about, is it okay for you to use an internal CRM or a client-given CRM? There are a lot of CRMs in the marketing world. You've got SFDC, you've got Dynamics, you've got other people, you've got SIs who are developing CRMs. Similarly, Denave also have spent a lot of time and investment on developing our own partner management tool. We call it PRM, but this has effectively worked in some of the campaigns that we have done, and that is why we would like to pick it up in terms of what it can be done. And guys, this is not a sales pitch about trying to sell a Denave tool to anybody who has attended. It's about giving an example of how important it is, excuse me, to have a tool which is able to integrate in your process and make things easier for everyone. Now, there might be restrictions on some of your clients who says that, hey, a third-party vendor or agency cannot be using my CRM because there are confidential information which is already embedded into the system, and we don't want to be visible to a third-party agency. In that case, what do? People generally start working on a makeshift CRM, or people start using SharePoint or OneDrive, or people start using documents, and that is where the entire system or process starts breaking. Now, the benefit of having a tool similar to what Denave has developed, and there are many tools in the market that you can explore. It can be given on a subscription basis, it can be taken on a user basis, is that at least the information that we want to share can be collated into one repository, and the transfer of the information also becomes seamless, and it is also secured in terms of how we are transferring those information. Now, the Denave partner management tool, what it helps is that it helps in various attributes, and some of the key callouts that I would like to make is in terms of the automated solution 24/7 driving responsiveness. The other important factor is the cost. A lot of people talk about huge investment you do when it comes to using a CRM for effectively you closing a sales motion. We are trying to probably minimize it to the level that everybody will be able to afford it. There is a significant increase in revenue with self-access to information and seamless CRM integration. So the idea is to bring it down. The reduction in sales cycle by almost 28%. And these numbers are coming from at least 3 to 4 campaigns that we have worked in terms of saying that if typically a sales cycle or gestation period of a sales cycle from opportunity being identified to the time it gets closed is, let's say, 45 days, we are able to see a 28% drop in the sales cycle. So we are able to close the deal a lot faster because there's a lot of transparency in the way the messages are being shared, the updates that are coming from the sales team or from the partner team by using a tool effectively. Overview of the sales funnel of the overall vendors, agencies, or partners. Higher lead conversion in terms of, if you are able to pass 100 leads, and earlier if the sales team or the partner ecosystem are able to close only 20. Now we see that there's a significant increase to a 30 or a 40. And these are from live campaigns that we have done. The other best part about using a tool as such is that, you can access it on the go. You have accessibility on your mobile, on your tablet. The sales team or the partner team are so busy today that they are focused on meeting more and more prospects, more and more customers. And while doing that, they tend to forget to update any particular deal because they have to wait for them to go back to the office or find a space in the coffee shop and then start updating the details one by one. And in the midst of doing all those activities, we tend to forget. We are human, okay? Let's admit to the fact that there's going to be some misses. What such kind of tool helps is that you had a customer meeting, you had a certain outcome based on the customer meeting, what the customer is saying. Now you will be able to update what conversation you had, and based on the ideas that you have got from the conversation with the customer, you want to update on that particular lead, saying that while you're driving back or while you're in a cab or while you're taking a train, you will be able to update that, hey, I had a meeting with this customer, the customer seems interested, customer's looking for a POC, and we will be organizing a POC in a week, 10 days time. Example. The moment you type that into the tool, it gets reflected to all the stakeholders. There is an opportunity. Now this opportunity is at 20%. Now it is going to move to a 40% because the customer is looking for a proof of concept. I, as a seller who have generated that lead, I get an update. My manager will get an update. The partner ecosystem gets an update. The sales team gets an update. The principal or the OEM who is running this campaign gets an update. So it benefits everyone. There's no darkness. Everybody gets a visibility of how it is progressing. That's the beauty that we are talking about. And that is the flexibility and transparency that we want to bring in when we are talking about passing on to the lead, to the right party, to the right channel. Can you move to the next one? This is my last slide, and I want to probably correlate the things that I was talking since the last 15 minutes. On your left of the screen, the lead handover tool, you will see that these are the existing problems that you will see. The CRM tool, tool through which you send it to a partner tab, then the partner choice of the product and the quantity, then you route the leads into a minimum number of partners, await the partner update on the lead progress. So it's a never-ending story in terms of waiting for an update. Current process challenges that, when you go for a traditional CRM or a traditional tool, or if you're using the old way of sharing a lead on an Excel or a Word format, is that the lead updates dependent on partners' input. Till the time somebody feeds in something and then uses a system effectively, it is not going to happen. No mechanism to connect with a partner for update. If I want to see that how my partners are doing, instead of picking up the phone and dialing the partner saying, hey, Mr. Partner, I sent you a couple of leads. What is the update on that? I don't have any mechanism to interact with the partner. Now here in the tools that we have spoken about, you are able to speak with the sales team. You are able to connect with the partner team. You are also able to channelize within your own organization in terms of how the leads are progressing. There's an increased turnaround time due to partner headquarters or partner senior sales team involvement, because there might be a migration requirement, there might be an integration requirement, and our inability to send any valuable insights to the marketing team. A marketer will always look for a feedback on a campaign that they have ran, okay? And I could see that a lot of marketers have joined this session. And it is very, very important that at the end of a campaign, you go back to a marketer and give him a feedback that, hey, you know what? You have ran a campaign for me, thank you very much. But this campaign gave me only 20% of the results, and these are 3 things that we have missed out. You're looking for a tool which is going to give you that insight so that you don't have to put your brains or your thoughts for multiple days before going back for a feedback to the marketer. The marketer should be able to pull feedbacks on how the leads are progressing, how the campaign effectiveness has worked. Very, very important. And those are some of the solutions that we are trying to bring in through the partner management portal, which we will ensure that there is no darkness at the end of the lead tunnel. Every lead that you generate, where you have spent a lot of dollars and a lot of man hours, are able to move to the next level and into a closure level, because at the end of the day, everybody is looking at return on investment. ROI becomes the most important KPI. You always want to have a positive ROI on a campaign that you run, and that is what we are trying to help you guys out. That's it. With that, I'm going to pass it on to MP and Ayushi, and we are open to questions with the last 14 minutes left in today's slot. Thank you.
So thank you, Bobby. Thank you, MPN, for a wonderful question, for the wonderful session. Sorry. Now the floor is open for Q&A. So anyone want to ask anything or say anything, please click on the hand raise button. We already have a question in the chat section from Sandeep. He says, how to set up a startup for me to arrange a systematic marketing and a sales funnel. Can you point out any tool which can help me with this? So MPN, would you like to take this up?
Sure, sure. Thank you, Ayushi, and thank you, Bobby, for that session. And thank you, Sandeep, for a very relevant question. This is the most pressing question. Any marketing teams or even the organization management teams have. And to put it very simple, if you're looking at a systematic marketing and sales funnel management tool, let us put this in context. What we're talking about is from top of the funnel, the lead moves into the middle of the funnel, and from middle of the funnel it moves at the bottom of the funnel, and you need a tool that is able to connect this seamlessly and takes that information back and then moves it. What actually moves it from top of the funnel to the middle of the funnel? It's the information or the feedback on that particular lead. If it says that yes, there is some intent over here, then from top of the funnel it moves it into the middle of the funnel. Now this information has to come from somebody who has worked on that particular lead and has shared that information. Now that sharing of information or the feedback can happen, as we discussed, through any tools which is effective, not necessarily a CRM or not necessarily a WhatsApp message or an Excel file, but a simple tool that can help capture the very relevant points without too much of complication and without too much of time lost on doing that one. And at the same time, it should be something as simple as you have got out of the meeting and you need to update someone about what has happened on this, and that's the kind of a tool you need to look into. And we at Denave have been searching for the tool for about 20 plus years, and we haven't found those, because all those CRM tools which are there out in the market, they are pretty good. They are pretty good at doing certain things, right? They are good at capturing your marketing insights. They are good at capturing the sales sales data point of it. But there is something that is missing. That missing gap is basically what the sales guy or the person on the field wants to really report back, what has happened on this, and how can that be interpreted in the right way, captured in the right way, to be able to relate it back to the marketing teams or the management with the information going back. That's the reason why we have developed this particular tool, the PRM tool, which is a simple, effective tool that can help someone get feedback on the leads and that information visible to all the stakeholders, and things can move in a very seamless and systematic manner. Having said that, your focus has to be on making sure to find a tool or a process or a system that can connect these important things seamlessly. Whether you do it through your manual process, or go for a CRM, or go for a tool like our PRM tool, it depends entirely on your long-term focus and what kind of investments you're looking and how effective you want these systems to be. I hope that helps answer the question.
Thank you, Sandeep, for your question. I have unmuted you. You can please go ahead and ask anything if anything else you want to ask.
Yeah, now it's clear. Thank you, sir, for the insight.
Thank you very much, Sandeep. Really appreciate that.
We also have a hand raise from Pooja. Pooja, I've unmuted you. You can now unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question. Pooja? I think there is some technical glitches. She is not able to unmute herself. Anyone? Yeah, we also have a hand raise from Shri Kumar. You can please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, good morning to everybody.
Good morning.
Hi, MP, Bobby, and Ayush. It's a good section. I'm just, let me introduce myself. Basically, I got 25 years of experience in IT and traveled more than 30 countries. So I had met Denave in Singapore, and I'm consulting some big companies in India and abroad. And now I'm starting my own startup company because of all this COVID situation. It's very difficult to travel all the countries. So rather than doing that, so I'm starting my own startup. which I've given for registration. So now I'll be looking for a package which is simple and better for my salespeople or for the entire management. It's a small company right up for startup. What I am looking for whenever I go into the market, I would like to know about the key persons, influencers, okay, shareholders and investors. These are the first four things that I need to know. And then we will take it from there and go ahead into the market. So I need a small package where to start up with that. So those type of information, and then doing the sales and marketing through that. That's what I'm expecting. So how can Denave help into this startup procedure?
Sure, Sri Kumar, thank you so much for asking this question, and also sharing your feedback on this. Absolutely, I think this is where we have been also looking at either there are large CRMs or there are very complicated systems and processes, or there are typically the manual processes of Excel file kind of a thing, and that's one of the reasons why we have developed this PRM tool, which is a very simple and effective way of capturing these information. And you need not do this after coming back or opening your laptop kind of a thing. As you rightly said, right, you would be probably on the move, and you've done some research about that particular organization that you're meeting, and you would have picked up some names. Where do you remember those names? You can quickly open up the tool and put in those details within your tool, and it's available and visible to all the team members that you're looking at, right? And at the same time, when you have a discussion with that particular organization, if you feel that there are certain needs and requirements that have come in, and you are able to address that, that is what you are able to capture on this, and it is visible to your sales teams, and then they can take it forward from there and close it out. You don't have to fill in a separate form and then send in that information. You will need to look at tools which are simple like that, and probably I think what we feel is our PRM tool kind of a thing really fits your requirement. If that fits, probably I think we can also have an offline chat and then take it forward from there. Bobby, would you want to add something else on this?
Yeah, I think one of the other element that Sri, thanks for your question again, that Sri was trying to understand is that, for his kind of a startup, where he was traveling to multiple countries, 30 countries over the last 25, 30 years is not bad, I would say, in terms of doing business. And with COVID, there is a certain turn in how you want to do business. And so you're looking for prospects. And when you're looking for prospects to set up business meetings, you're also looking for information in terms of who the stakeholders are, who are the decision makers, the shareholders, and their future plans. Is that correct? If I recollect your question.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So one is the tool that MPN spoke about, where you can have all this information being fed in. The requirement that you have in terms of your potential clientele in the future and the prospect list that you're looking at, that's one of the database strategy that we have. We call it the Intelligent Database Management, IDMS. That's an in-house team that we have. We will be happy to connect you with the IDMS team, who will be able to give you all the requisite information that you're looking to prospect your future clientele in terms of, and this can go from 5 to 10 contacts in an organization in terms of whatever details that are required. So a customized package can be given to you, based on the requirement that you have. And of course, your requirement will not run into the thousands. You'll be probably targeting at hundreds of customers first, based on the geography that you would like to. And our expertise is not just in India; it goes global. Anywhere, where we have been doing business. So, Sri, I think somebody from the team will get in touch with you in the next couple of days, and we will set up a meeting for you with the IDMS team so that they can take it forward and help you build the business. And all the very best for your new startup. Okay, looking forward.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thanks a lot.
One more question is that,
yes, please.
Anyway, I'm not coming into the commercial part of it. Since I'll be into the IT and I'll be doing the IT business itself, I will like to tie up with Denave as a partner where I can propose this proposal to my clients. So this is another way of doing business with you as well. So this.
I think that's a conversation where MPN and I would be involved. So one part is the IDMS piece, and one part is with MPN and myself. So instead of having multiple meetings, I think we can set up one meeting which is going to address all your solutions.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thanks.
MP.
And wish you a happy Friday.
Happy weekend for you also. Thank you.
Thank you. Any next question, please?
Thank you, Shri Kumar, for your question. Anyone else, please click on the hand raise button and I'll unmute you. Pooja, would you want to ask your question? I've already unmuted you, so you can once again try. Uh, So I guess there are no more questions. So thank you, everyone. Those of you who were not able to ask your question because of any other reason, or those of you questions we were not able to take up, you need not worry. You can write to us on webinar@denave.com. Any feedback, any suggestion, basically anything, we are all ears on this ID. The entire webinar is being live streamed on our Facebook page, and the recording will shortly be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So in case you want to hear the recording later or share it with your colleague, you can go ahead and do that. Along with, apart from this webinar, previous webinar recording, along with much more informative stuff, is also available. So do spare a minute. Once again, thank you for being such a wonderful audience. Take care, stay safe, and have a great weekend. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.